What's up, Planeswalkers? Back in the early access event. This one we're taking a look at a Menace aggro list in Jund colors. So thank you for Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring your boy K-Dog here, along with all the other content creators. So this is something I knew I wanted to do when we saw some of these cards. Hagra Constrictor, creatures you control with +1 counters have Menace. Probably not very good. 3 mana, 2 +1/+1 counters. But it was something I kind of wanted to play around with. Nullpriest of Oblivion is a 2/1 Menace lifelinker for 2 mana. You can kick it for basically 6 total mana to get a creature card back from your graveyard to the battlefield, which can be can be pretty sweet in the right decks, I think. I don't know if this is quite where we're going to be paying 6 mana for that effect, but it is an option to kind of help you rebuild in the late game if you top deck this. And of course, we're running the Labyrinth Raptor and Stormfist Crusader as our trusty Menace support here. We also have some Eliminate and Heartless Act as our removal. A couple Inscription of Ruins for some modal interaction as well. If your opponent's not really running a whole lot of creatures, you can force them to discard maybe some removal spells. Or you can kill some creatures on your opponent's side and make it harder for them to block with all your menacing threats. A couple Murderous Riders from targeted removal on creatures and planeswalkers. 3 Oath-Sworn Knights, trying to get that Hagra Constrictor Menace synergy. It is basically it's a 3 mana 4/4. It comes down with 4 +1/+1 counters on it, and then it attacks each combat if able. And whenever it's dealt damage while it has a +1 counter on it, you remove a +1 counter on it, and you prevent all that damage. So if your opponent has like a 10/10, well, you prevent that 10 damage, and you just remove a single +1 counter on it. So it's not like Polukranos where you move counters equal to the amount of damage dealt to it. It just all the damage counts as one single counter removed from the Oath-Sworn Knight. 2 copies here of the Soul Shatter, just for some more interaction, especially at the kind of top end, making your opponent sack the biggest mana cost among creatures or planeswalkers they control. 3 of Grakmaw, again with the Hagra Constrictor, kind of getting some counter synergy. And it's pretty sweet where it comes down as basically it's a 3/3, has come 3 +1/+1 counters on it. And when it dies, it replaces itself with another 3/3 token. So that seems pretty interesting. 2 copies here are Tentative Connection, obviously being able to steal any creature on your opponent's side for 1 mana. While your rest of your creatures have Menace is pretty powerful. A couple Questing Beasts to kind of round out the top end of our aggro list. And then 2 copies here of Nissa. Honestly, a pretty strong new card, but she also makes, with her +1, she makes 3/3 lands that have Menace until end of turn. So remember, with this Nissa, the land is only a creature until the end of turn. It does not stay a 3/3 creature, like with Nissa from War of the Spark that just rotated. So she's not quite as good that way, but in some ways it's better because it kind of protects you from like board wipes and things like that. And then the -5, we can get creatures back to the battlefield with +1 additional +1/+1 counters on them. So that's pretty interesting. Mana base, it's going to be a little rough here with the new standard. All the shocklands rotated, and some of the mana options are a little less than desirable, especially for aggro lists and a 3-color aggro list at that. But we're gonna try to make this work. So we got 4 swamps as our basic black source. We got 4. It's a Cragcrown Pathway, but it's also the Timbercrown Pathway. So this can be played either as a red source or a green source. And as you see, it does not count as a mountain or a forest. However, it does not enter tapped either. So that's fantastic for an aggro list. Just a couple of basic for us, since green is kind of like our splash color, but we do need enough green to support the double green of Questing Beasts. We have 4 Temple of Malice, 4 Temple of Malady, 2 of the Indatha Triumphs for some additional green support, since we have these to get us red and this to get us red as well. So the Triumph kind of helps with that little bit of green splash. And then finally 4 Fabled Passages. Alright, that's the main deck. We'll jump into some matches, see how it goes. Alright, up against Rogue again. Just face this person with the last video. That's funny. So Indatha gives us black and green. So I'll go ahead and fire that off. We'll go ahead and get the Stormfist down next turn. We do need double green, so it's a little bit awkward. And we have red now with the Temple, but we do need to play something. We could just play the Nullpriest, I guess. Not a deal to play it on 2 and might kick it later. Alright, Fabled Passage, perfect. Alright, so we have our mana situation squared away. Lotus Cobra is pretty nasty. Well, we're going to get in there and gain some life. Go ahead and crack this for red and play Stormfist. Alright, so we have double black, double red. So we have some options next turn if we want to Grakmaw plus Temple, or we could Fabled Passage to dig for something else. Alright, questing beast. So we do need to want another green source. I think that's worth getting down here. We just try to pressure our opponent as much as possible. They can double block. Both these creatures have Menace. But then we get rid of the Cobra, which they probably don't want, and they do not. But this Mammoth is pretty nasty, and of course Cobra can do some pretty sick things. We're up to 23 though, thanks to the Nullpriest. So we have some room not to block if they want to get frisky with this Mammoth. Ooh, Great Henge. That's going to be pretty powerful for them. So far just straight up showing Gruul. We have some options next turn. Fortunately, Fabled Passaging for the second green means we can't Labyrinth Raptor and Stormfist Crusader unless we find another untapped red or black source. Mammoth is already up to 11. Wow, and they played the Phylath World Sculptor. That's pretty sick. Yeah, not sure we're winning this one. I mean, that was just one turn that did all that stuff. I mean, Lotus Cobra is stupid. Wow. That is a stupid card, people. I mean, they got a 6/6 with all these tokens and stuff. Like, I don't think there's much we can do about that. We're basically dead, but we'll see if we can maybe force them into some stuff they don't want to do. They're going to trade off their Phylath with this questing beast. And throw a couple plant tokens in front of the Stormfist Crusader. Fortunately, we just have a Temple here. Another questing beast. Maybe. Morog. Yeah, we're probably just dead here. Alright, it's the power of Morog. It's pretty sweet. And a Zusa at that. I'm not going to block, just going to let him get through for 1,000,000 damage here. I mean, I imagine they have lethal anyway. We can wait one more turn though, just to see. Let's see if we block here and then let them Morog next turn. Oh, because they already triggered landfall, so it doesn't matter if Morog is attacking. It just has to be on the battlefield when you cast when you play a land. So yeah, that's pretty nuts. Lotus Cobra, power of Lotus Cobra. All right, against Kiratan EX. I mean, 2 lands and several 2-drops. It's not ideal, but I guess we'll keep. Go ahead and Temple and hope for a untapped land on 2. Eliminates. Without knowing what our opponent's up to, I'd rather search for a untapped land here and try to play out our hand on curve, if at all possible. Got paid off there. Going to lead with the Labyrinth Raptor. Opponent with a Plains. Holding priority here. Not sure what that's about. Boros. Okay. Let's run some equipments. So this Tentative Connection could be pretty clutch if we are smart with how we use it. Temple here, try to find some removals. It's not a questing beast, I think we can pass that. We already have green for Nissa here. So we have options next turn. We have 4 lands, we know that. So most likely just play out Nissa. So we want them to build up this creature and then Tentative Connection it. Because they don't know about that right now. Obviously we have to be a little bit careful because that could get pretty pretty out of hand pretty quickly. Alright, do we want to play this as a red source or a green source? I think we have to play it as a red source. Alright, go ahead and Nissa here. If they want to attack Nissa, then so be it. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and take that action. And we'll swing in for 9. Gain some life. Or what, 3, 7. I'm going to kill my Nissa here. Leave us at 16. We'll take that. Want to put some more equipments on your Blade Master. We can Tentative Connection it and kill you. You got double strikes. You can kill Nissa here if you want. I'm fine with that because this double strike equipment could get pretty out of hand. Could just go with Embercleave next turn, so I gotta be careful about that. Trying to decide if I want to pressure our life total or just getting this off the board. I think just go after Nissa here. I think it's pretty not that hard to decide. Maybe they're trying to figure out if they have lethal on us next turn. If they have Embercleave, then maybe they just do. Especially if Intimidator has mana open, you can make something, make it so that we can't block. Wow. That was rude. What do we want here? I guess we should grab a second green source just in case we do find a questing beast. Alright, Labyrinth Raptor. Go ahead and fire this off as a 2-drop. I don't think we're going to be worried about that. Want to save this Heartless Act to the last minute possible. I want to take just enough damage so we don't actually die. So they're going to hit us for 5, that's 10 double strike. So I'd like to kill them with their own Blade Master with a Tentative Connection if possible. So I'd like to kill this Intimidator. Hopefully they sink some mana into it. And then we know they don't have anything. They can't 2 creatures and 3 mana, they can't Embercleave now. Unless they're holding up another untapped land. You can activate your Intimidator here. I don't think there's anything else they could flash in besides Embercleave, but maybe there's some new cards that I'm not thinking of. I wasn't expecting this one, that's for sure. I'll let them sink their mana into the Intimidator, and we'll go ahead and kill it. Alright, so +2 means 7. So that's 14 damage. Okay. You have something else? I'm going to kill your 3/1. Okay, that resolved, so I'm guessing they're we're in the clear here. Perfect. Thank you for the Core Blade Master. Tentative Connection coming in clutch. Alright, against Lou Caparose for our final match. Alright, again with a couple tap lands. Well, let's go with Temple, see if we can find that untapped. Perfect. And we'll leave the Stormfist Crusader, get that card draw going if possible. Archfiend, that's not good. So it just looks like a Cleric's deck. Seem pretty solid from what I've seen. Meyer Tritone. Milled Murderous Rider, that's pretty cool. Don't really have good attacks. They could sack the Archfiend's Vessel, double block the Stormfist Crusader, sack the Vessel, and still block and kill with the Triton. They're getting frisky. Play another Labyrinth Raptor. Let's get the Ravager Rider off the board. Let's do it now. Alright, so they can sack their Vessel, but you know it's gonna die at some point anyway. And they choose no blocks. So not in a great position for this Oath-Sworn Knight. Probably just go Grakmaw here. If they go no attacks, we could just Soul Shatter as well to get this Meyer Triton. What do we have to... 2? Oath-Sworn Knight, really? Looks like we're actually getting much value off of it. Oh, that's lame. Yeah, Acquisitions Expert feels pretty annoying when I've played against it. Right, what kind of jank we're up to? Alright, we got the Murderous Rider in hand that they don't know about. We're gonna swing out here. See how they block, and maybe a Murderous Rider Swift End something. We'll have to make some sacrifices thanks to double Labyrinth Raptor, so that's pretty cool. They could just stack all these on one creature, maybe. Doesn't matter, you have to sacrifice both of them. Like they were aware of how that worked. Just let it go through. Play a Grakmaw. Give us more versatility here. If they kill it, it replaces itself. We can give it Menace next turn with the Hagra Constrictor. I have a grip full of cards, so I'm not sure Inscription is worth it. Probably save it for maybe killing another Ravager Rider. We got 5 mana open, 5 cards in hand, and you say go. That's interesting. Guess we play this down for a green. Alright, we'll give our Grakmaw Menace. Let's save the Tentative Connection as maybe a finisher. Worked out pretty well last game. They have some removal here, I'm sure. I don't know what else they're holding up in hand. So they have like 5 lands. Sure. You have multiple kill spells here. They want to really want to get the Stormfist Crusader off the board. Is there anything else with this mana? So we'll go and activate. Put him down to 1. Stormfist Crusader would have killed them next turn. But as it is, we've got Murderous Rider and Tentative Connection open. So they're definitely in a tough spot. Mire Triton, they're going to gain some life back to 3. Milled Agadeem's Awakening and a Swamp. Nighthawk Scavenger, okay. So that's some lifelink for them. Okay, we still have Menace here on all of our creatures. And they are tapped out. So I think we've got this. So we'll kill... let's kill the Mire Triton and steal the Nighthawk. Seems pretty good. Good game, Mr. Lou Caparose. Alright. So yeah, pretty janky, but then when the Hagra Constrictor or Grakmaw with our Menace Lords, if you will, Stormfist Crusader or Labyrinth Raptor come together, it's pretty sweet. Yeah. Jump into the deck one more time. Still probably needs a little bit more tuning. Obviously, I've been kind of playing it off and on throughout the day, kind of tweaking it here and there. Obviously, best of 3 is a little bit different game, so definitely be tuning it for that. But this will be kind of a Menace shell I'll be working on. Jund might be a little bit cute, but does give you some powerful cards. The Grakmaw, I think it's going to be a sweet new card all around. Of course, we get access to, where are we at? Menace aggro. Get access to Questing Beast and Nissa as well. So that's pretty powerful. And maybe some more sideboard options I haven't really looked at too much. Tentative Connection is still just as good, maybe even better if people are running like equipments and things like that. Or just other big, beefy creatures, which we've definitely seen a few, some big, powerful creatures. Soul Shatter, I'm not really sold on this card yet. I mean, it's been decent every time I've cast it. It is instant speed, and it's a way to hit creatures that are planeswalkers, especially being 1 black. It makes it pretty splashable, so it kind of depends on what your what your mana base situation looks like. If you're more splashing black, then this is probably more we want to be leaning towards. Obviously, we got the Stormfist Crusader, so I don't really want to be running all 4 Murderous Riders either, because that's just way too much life loss potential. Inscription of Ruin, I think, is main deckable just because of the modal effects, but we'll have to keep testing it to see just how viable that really is. But I think it's obviously Mind Rot doesn't really see a ton of play unless you're like a dedicated mono black discard list or whatever. But this being modal, where you can be Mind Rot or kill something or bring a creature back, especially since we have 2-drop creatures that are pretty important to our list. Definitely feel like Inscription really fits in here pretty nicely. Maybe the Soul Shatter just comes out. But just being able to hit bigger things with it, I think, is kind of interesting. But then if we're going to steal with Tentative Connection, then maybe we don't need it. And Nullpriest, the lifelink has actually been pretty clutch, and just a another 2-drop lifelinker that's just 1 and a black. It's pretty easy on our mana base here to have that on turn 2. So I haven't kicked it yet, so I'm not sure how valuable that side of it will be. But yeah, just as a 2 mana 2 powered Menace lifelinking seems pretty. Something like that alone is worth it right there in this particular build, and some pretty sweet artwork. Obviously, removal package still gonna need some tweaking to eliminate Heartless Act. Gonna have to figure out exactly what the right balance is, especially if we're going to best of 3. definitely feels like there's something here. Probably not super competitive, but something that can definitely at least do well in the lower ranks, and certainly in the unranked play queue you can have some fun with it. The biggest issue is the mana base. You know, obviously in Jund we don't get the Triomes, unfortunately, in Ikoria. Will we ever at some point? Hopefully, maybe. And then we have Cragcrown Pathway, which can come down as a red or a green source, but it's not a basic, so we can't shoot up with a Fabled Passage, which is a little bit awkward. But hopefully in the next set we'll get the rest of these. I think we're supposed to. So then we get the maybe the black or green lands, and that'll make these types of decks much more consistent with getting playable mana bases, which is so until then it's gonna be a little bit awkward at times, but that's kind of always how it is after rotation. So yeah, this is definitely a list that I've had some success with. Actually, first build of it actually beat Ali Eldrazi, so that was pretty sweet. That definitely was probably the highlight of my day. But yeah, so thanks for watching this one, and until next time, make sure you jank with purpose.